Welcome, everybody, to another show of Unstoppable. Today we have guest Peggy Zabakolas from the hit show $1 Million Beach House on Netflix. Peggy, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. So you guys are awesome. I watched the show. I think it's incredible. It's entertaining and fun. So it's really, really cool. But I'm very happy to have you here. You know, I always sit back and I think about every time I watch a reality show like that, I think about, like, how did these people get here? You know, like what led them to this? And I don't know. I just think it's so cool that you're able to get that platform. And I just want to kind of hear more about your story and kind of let everybody know who Peggy is.
Yeah, well, how did I get here? Good question. It's not like I woke up one morning, I was like, I want to be a Netflix star, but not going to lie, it's definitely helped with the brand. I did real estate almost 10 years ago. I graduated from law school and joined Ryan Serhant's team from $1 Million Listing New York. And, you know, I've always wondered, you know, like when you see someone on TV, on a reality TV show, you're like, oh, that person was connected to a different one. And I'm like, how did they get into that first step?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with being at the right time, at the right place.
Right place, right time.
Or, yeah, that.
Yeah.
And then just, like, always never giving up, I guess, you know?
And how'd you hook? So it's funny that you mentioned Ryan, right? Because he happened to be on Dan O'Neill's show on Kulka Interactive just last week, which is really cool, right? And before that, we had Mike Fulfrey, which was really cool. Like, we're just having one right after the other. Like, you guys are awesome. He's the man. He's the man. Shout out to him. He's awesome. But how did you link up with Ryan that first time? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, so I was my last year of law school. A good friend of mine was Ryan's business partner at the time. They were starting a team. So I was one of the original. He asked, hey, I know you wanted to do real estate, but I know you're in law school. Do you want to join? So I was one of the original, like, 4. I was the OG. That's
awesome. Now, that's obviously pre-everything he did with Bravo, and, like, right?
Well, sort of. So he already filmed season 1 when I joined, but I had no idea. Like, it never came out. So it was pre-everything, but, like, I knew about the show, or it just didn't come out yet.
So you were there to see it all start and see the impact it had on his career.
Yeah.
And you were kind of there for that ride.
Right. And that's what made me want to say yes to this amazing Netflix opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Now, real estate-wise, you've always concentrated mostly on New York City, right?
Yeah.
Right? And you've done some stuff out in the Hamptons just because the overlap and things. But from what conversations we were just having, the first time you were really in the Hamptons for a full year, for the full season, was on the show, right?
Yes, sir. Just throw me in there.
which is cool because you kind of, like, you handled it. You did very well. Like, I watched the show. I was a big fan. I saw you were the boss. Like, it was awesome. But, like, you had good opportunities, right? But from a business standpoint, like, I could tell you think like a business person, and the way that you approach things, like, you know, the little taste you get from the show, I could tell that, like, you did think of it from a business standpoint. So was that a big deal, kind of going from New York City over to the Hamptons, and kind of how was that transition for you?
Honestly, the way I looked at it was that I saw what it did to Ryan's career, and I the platform that Bravo gave him, and the possibilities, the endless possibilities that he did. And he's a really hard worker, and I figured, hey, Netflix has a much larger platform. It's international with I don't know how many countries, and I figured if I could do like a third of what Ryan did, then let me do it.
Of course.
You know, like, people say this all the time, and I used to say this when I was on Ryan's team. There's only 3 agents on $1 Million Listing New York, but I wasn't one of those agents. So now I can say there's only 5 agents on $1 Million Beach House, and honestly, that elevates my brand, because now I have all these people looking at my website and looking at my social media and my everything, and it's like, it just better serves my clients.
Of course it does. Now, I think everyone knows, right? A show like that on Netflix is going to help your brand. Like, that's so cool. Like, so you didn't just wake up one morning and be like, you know what? I'm going to be on Netflix today because I think it's going to help my brand. How does that opportunity even come about for you to be able to be in the position to decide, yeah, I'm going to go for this? Like, what was the first thing? How did that first conversation come about?
That's a really good question. Eddie, the CEO of Nest Seekers, approached me one day and mentioned this show that was about to happen. And if I wanted to, he knew I was reaching out more into the Hamptons. And he said, hey, like, if you want to be a part of this, there's there's steps, obviously. It's not like you could say, I want to be on the show and that's it. But Eddie, the CEO of my company, approached me. We went through few Skype interviews with the production team and Netflix. I didn't pass the first time, but here I am.
Well, lucky for them, they came to their senses and brought you on. But that's awesome. I mean, the fact that he comes to you with an opportunity like that, and it's got to be scary, right? It's got to be a scary thing to kind of put yourself out there, be part of this reality TV show. And luckily, you were able to see it already, so you knew the benefits that it had for Ryan. So it's a little less scary because you know the benefits, but you also know the negatives that come with it. I'm sure there's a ton of things behind the scenes that kind of you've seen happen the first time around with Ryan, right? With other people, that it's a scary thing to kind of jump into a show like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I am the philosophy of do and don't ask much questions.
Yeah.
Like, I tend to say yes, and then I figure shit out later. And that's kind of what I did with Netflix. I was like, yeah, let me do it. It's going to elevate my brand. It's going to be better for business, better for my clients. Why not? Like, I'd be silly to say no. After the fact, once we started filming, and then you just realize the stressors and everything that goes on with it, you question it. But I try to live life without regrets, and it has helped business. It has helped just like a following, and even just fans. Like, I've forget about business side, like even emotionally, like one of my followers proposed to his girlfriend, and one of my quotes or one of my like go-getters was pushed him over the limit to like give him the balls to do it. So can I say that on here?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want on here. We're not censored. That is, it's cool. It's cool. I can imagine that with the brand and with all that comes with it. And, it's just getting started, right? I mean, you guys had season 1. It's still new, and it's on Netflix, so it's not like it aired and no one could ever think about it. At any time, they're going to hear this show, and people might not have seen it. They're going to watch it, so it's constantly growing, and more people are putting their eyes on it.
Yep.
Now there's going to be, hopefully, another season or whatever, right? And that keeps on going, and it's kind of just getting started for you. But I'd imagine already the benefits of having that type of exposure are endless, right? I'm sure you're seeing a ton of that already.
Absolutely. Just the caliber of clients that also reach out to me. I have these amazing clients from all over the country, honestly, like West Coast clients that may have not necessarily reached out to me in the first place, clients in North Carolina and Florida that are the amount of wealth they have. I mean, it ranges literally from like 1 million to unlimited, but I am now becoming more of a household name, and that's all I could really ask for and or want.
That's all anyone could ask for and or want, right? And like, I think that a lot of us, and a lot of times here, we're constantly talking about social media. I think we talk about social media because it's really the outlet for anybody that doesn't have the opportunity to go and do something with Netflix, like on the stage that you did. So everyone talks about social media and growing this personal brand and all the benefits it'll have when you do it. And now you're doing it and you're seeing it, and like, it's just something that we preach all the time and we talk about, and in every way that somebody gets there, whether it's through social media, Netflix, it's always different. But the end goal of getting that type of exposure and growing your business that way is incredible. And you kind of got slingshotted into that from, I mean, really honestly, like from the time that the show aired is how long ago?
August 26th.
Right. So we're talking not even a year. And the differences are just incredible. That's
literally
cool.
August 26th, my entire life changed. And going back to what you said before, when like what's going on, while I was filming, I just promised myself, whatever happens, I'm owning it. I'm going to do it. August 25th, I had like 9,000 followers on Instagram, just whatever. Yeah. August 27th, like I have over 30,000, and it's a family. It's growing. When you do meet these clients, or you do meet people that follow you, they feel like they know you. And when you're investing in something, in any types of sales, it's a customer service industry, right? So if you have that personal connection, which a lot of these people do from social media, they feel like they know you already, because whether it's you're showing them an apartment or a house, or you're showing them that you just went sledding or whatever, they just have that connection, and that is so much more valuable nowadays, I think, than it ever was before.
And I just realized something sitting here as you're talking, like, you're browsing. We all sit home, right? Saturday night, we're browsing through Netflix. We're looking, what the hell are we going to watch? And all of a sudden now I looked at your Instagram a little bit to kind of learn a little who you were. And I just put it all together. I saw a cake, right, that said, top 10 on Netflix, right? And at the time, like, I'm browsing through Netflix and I see $1 million beach house, and I don't remember the point that I watched it or I decided to watch it. And I'm in real estate; that's interesting to me, so I probably put it on. But like, you don't comprehend that that's happening at the same moment for us as it is for you, right? So like, when it goes on top 10 on Netflix, that's a proud moment for all of you guys that were part of the show that are like, holy shit, like, people are actually watching this. This is becoming popular. And it could have got lost in the weeds, but it didn't. People watched it. It became very popular, and lives are about to change, and that's happening in real time for you guys.
It's so real, and that's what I did. I think like the first week that it aired, I literally sat on outside in a parking lot and posted, like, take this ride with me. Like, what do you want to know about me or about the show, about real estate, or my favorite car is, like, whatever it is, but like, let's do this together. And I think that's what's really important with social media, is that you want to have a tribe. You want to have not just numbers, you want to have a following where people are going to continuously, like, invest in you. And yeah, it's let's do this together,
Yeah. And that's, again, we look at it at a quote unquote fan, right? We're looking at it from the fan's point of view. We're looking in and we're watching you guys, and we're thinking like, oh, these guys have it all figured out. Look how great they're, whatever. But like, that's an experience for you in itself. Like, you're like, as much as we're experiencing it, maybe commenting on your stuff or talking to you or whatever, or fans connecting, that's an experience for you all in itself, to kind of see your fans, see your followings, people actually caring what you have to say. And that's got to be surreal for a little bit anyway, right?
Totally. I mean, it's a growth. It's a learning experience. I look at my following and I look at social media as a family and as, like, business partners per se, where, I want everyone to feel like they have a say in this platform that I have. Because without them, essentially, we are nothing, especially on social media. So I often ask them, like, what they want to see more of, or I engage with them a lot more. And I think it's just, as a fan, I think it's cool for people that are actually following along because they feel, like, more invested. And as the person doing it, it's amazing because you touch so many people's lives, and going back to real estate, helping someone buy a home is one of the, like, most beautiful things I think anyone can ever do, because it's such a part of their life forever. So it kind of puts two together, and to me, that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it really, that's awesome. It really is cool. Now, do you feel any different? And I asked that with a two-part question, right? Like, does it change anything? Does it change you? I mean, you seem like a pretty down-to-earth person. We just met for the first time 5 minutes ago, and we were bullshitting, like, whatever. Like, you're just kind of, like, real down-to-earth, easy to talk to. Do you feel any different? Do you feel like it ever will be different as things kind of continue to evolve?
No. I come back from a very, like, humble upbringing. My parents are immigrants, and I was always taught to, like, treat the cleaning person as, like, the CEO or whatever that saying is, just because that's my family, So I hope that I never change. And if I do, we could come back to this interview and you guys could yell at me.
I'm gonna yell you.
But no, I mean, I'm a pretty down-to-earth person. Like, I never want it to change.
Listen, just to give you an idea on how down-to-earth she actually is, right? So here she is. She has this hit show on Netflix, right? Everyone's watching. Everyone's talking about it. It's so cool. Out in the Hamptons, living life. And literally, I DM'd you on Instagram. I was like, hey, you got to come into the studio. We got to talk. We got to. 2 seconds later, you're like, I would love to. Just tell me when. 2 weeks later, we're sitting here and we're just kind of BSing 5 minutes ago. Like, nothing. It seems like I didn't know you prior, but I can't imagine you were much different prior. And like, I think that quote unquote celebrity or getting to be an influencer and doing those things, it could change people, right? And
totally.
And you have a big stage, and I'm sure that you might have seen some of that along the way with people that worked alongside you. And as it evolves, like, you might not change from a personality standpoint, but things could change, like business and how you approach things. And who knows, today it's real estate, but as time goes on and as this evolves, it could lead into other things, right? I mean,
sure.
Right? Do you see yourself going in a different direction business-wise now that this opportunity has come to the table? Do you see yourselves, not in a bad way, but do you see yourself strategizing differently on what the future might look like?
That's actually a really solid point, and I guess I didn't think of it in that way at all. I've changed in the sense of I like think about things differently, right? So like now when I do things on social media, I do them a little bit more, they're very come natural to me, but I still do it a little bit more strategically, where I have to make sure that like everyone's going to like it. And as far as business goes, I'm an open door policy type of person where I will always say yes. Maybe I'll regret it later on. Actually, I don't know if I'll regret it or not, but I want to say yes because you just never know where it can take you. Like I said yes to Netflix, and look at me now. You know, so I have business meetings like once a month with my mentor to kind of strategize things. And I love real estate. I eventually want to become a developer on my own and start flipping homes, and do that stuff. But I also want to brand off a little bit to any type of social thing that I can possibly do, whether it's also like helping people. I want to start a nonprofit, and just like anything that can just really elevate and build some type of legacy for me, my future, and my family.
That's awesome. Could I dive into your brain for a little bit?
Sure. I don't know what you'll find, but yeah.
So when you talk about thinking about things on social media a little bit differently, my question for you is it from a standpoint of you have more eyes watching you? Is it more from a business standpoint, you strategize a little bit more because you could take advantage of it better? Or is it like, what makes you think about it differently?
A little bit of both. Okay. I've never posted as much before in my life because I just never did. But now people want to see more of my everyday life. Yeah. So definitely that. I definitely don't post maybe as like my family as much just because they didn't sign up for this. Yeah. I did. And then I definitely post more about real estate things in sense of like doing tours and or just investments and things like that, because believe it or not, some sellers or some buyers want to work with that person that has that following. No matter where you are, you're going to have people that want to and you're going to have people that hate it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stick with the people that love it. And that's really it. I don't post like that many family things, but that's just because I have so many more eyes on me. And
I understand. It makes sense. And people think about it like, I'm sure people want to work with you because the novelty of it, right? Like, you're on the show and it's cool and people want to be associated with that. And it's kind of, there's a novelty there, right? That's a good word for it. But on the other hand, like, there really is a major benefit for your clients for you to have that kind of exposure. It opens up your network to so many more people. Obviously, there's more eyes on you. There's more ears on you. You've been able to establish relationships with people you might not have been able to establish with relationships with in the past. So there really is a true solid benefit to anybody that wants to work with you from a business standpoint. So like that's a huge plus for your clients.
I mean, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
You and I would have never probably connected if you didn't know who I was. And the only reason why you know who I am is because of Netflix. So it's opened so many more doors. It's opened so many more connections, honestly, from like dentistry to developers. Clients now know, like, if you're going to be a seller, that my outreach is tenfold. Not only is it New York and Florida and the West Coast, but it's international. I have like one of my good friends lives in the Philippines or is from there, and there's a huge following there. It's just it's such a bigger platform, and it just elevates the five of us so much more, and it opens up so many different connections like you and so many other amazing people that have come into my life.
Yeah, it's really it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy to see what you guys are doing. So let's talk a little bit about real estate, right? So we do much more on the commercial side, right? That's what we do here. So our what we do isn't quite as sexy in the front end, right? It's much more like numbers and BS, right? But when you talk about listing, some of the homes that you're listing, right, both in New York City and the Hamptons, there's an elegance about it. There's a sexiness about it, and a lot of people leverage media for those things and video and this. And what does a typical listing look like for you? How are you leveraging media? Are you diving deep into videos? I'm saying this because Ryan was on our show last week, right? So we dove into some of his stuff, what he's doing in this, and the platform he's building, and that he just launched, I think, sometime late last year with his new business. And it's really wrapped around media, very similar to the way that we kind of wrapped our business here at Kulka around media. How much are you leveraging those things, and how do you take advantage of all those things when you're doing a listing?
Good question. It's a new avenue that I think that the world is coming to. So first, real estate isn't always glamorous. I was just at a listing today where the owners don't live at, and I was shoveling pathway in like heels and everything for my clients. But as far as media goes, you have to always evolve and change, right? Like if you asked me 5 years ago, would I be doing, a cooking show at my $5 million listing, I would say absolutely not. But now, I love to cook, so I'm starting to do more videos of cooking in the kitchen and then doing a video tour and just like different things. I do Instagram lives where I tour the house and people can kind of ask questions and they just that way. So I haven't done reels, but I just do different videos and like YouTube and things like that I'm going to dive more into. But
now, the bigger the listing, how do I say this? Because I feel like there's like a creative element there where like you constantly want to kind of set yourself apart, right? Everybody always wants to kind of do, and they think cooking in the kitchen is a really cool thing, right? But like, do you try to get real creative with more listings? Is there a difference between, or the bigger listings rather, is there a difference between the way you do it in the Hamptons compared to the way you're doing it in New York City? Like, do you see a difference, and do you approach them differently?
You have to adapt to them differently. I mean, in the Hamptons, you have a yard and you have a lot more amenities, a pool, tennis, you could have cars involved, where in the city, it's more of your apartment or your townhouse. So it's slightly different. I'm going to say that no matter what level of a listing you're at, I try to put in the same amount of effort. Granted, the ones that are a little bit smaller, they may not have like as long or may not be able to be as creative just because there's not many features that you can really take advantage of. But we do a lot of just like different we look at each individual apartment and or house and see really what it has, like if it's really big on views or if it has this amazing movie theater or it has all these toys or whatever it possibly has. So that's where we kind of focus on. But overall, I think the foundation is probably the same for whether it's $1 million or a 30 million. It's just the amount of different elements that you can add to it.
Cool. All right. Another thing that I want to talk to you about that I was very intrigued about when I was watching the show. You were the only girl.
That's right.
You were the only girl. How did does that play a factor ever? Like, do you feel like you're in a quote unquote man's world when you're doing it, or is it just the show that felt that way, or does that happen a lot?
I grew up a very tomboyish type of person, so I've always connected to guys a lot, and I didn't really realize. Listen, I'm an attorney. I did finance like in college, do real estate. Those are all male-dominated industries. It's definitely hard for females, and I think you saw a little bit on the show. We kind of get a little bit more. If I'm stern, I'm a bitch, but I consider myself a boss babe, so
I thought you were tough. I thought you were tough. I looked back and I said, I saw the situation and I thought that you handled it very professionally, but stern and tough. Like I never once came across, I never thought you were bitchy. I never thought I just looked at it. I was like, oh wow, she's badass. Like she's not taking shit. Like, and I liked it. Like I thought it was cool. But it's still, I can imagine it's a tough line.
It is, and that's kind of why also I wanted to be on the show too, was because I knew I was going to be the only girl on it, and I wanted to show other females, whether you're like 17 or even 13-year-olds reached out, or like 50. I wanted all of us to kind of get together and like show each other that we can do it, and even if it's like if we're going to be like stumbled upon, or like if guys are going to try to like talk to us a certain type of way, like screw this, we got this. And honestly, I think the show goes to showing how tough girls are. I was the only girl, and I probably got a lot more shit or crap from everyone, but like we stuck it out, and I think people don't realize how tough girls are. We have to work definitely a lot more harder to prove ourselves.
Well, you definitely showed everyone, because it was it was good. It was good. I think that you, like I said, I think you handled yourself very well. I think that it probably inspires a lot of people to do things that they might not typically think they could do or get involved in. I'm curious as to how you went from being a lawyer and kind of backburning that and going into real estate. That's kind of like intriguing to me, because I don't know, like I feel like you're a lawyer, like you're a lawyer. That's bad. That's tough. That's bad.
I'm an esquire.
Yeah.
Well, 1 second, real quick. So going back to like what has changed, that's it. Like I never expected me, like little old Peggy from like that grew up in Astoria and then Long Island, a Greek girl, would be able to influence or inspire or just have so much effect on so many random people. So that alone to me is priceless and beautiful.
Yeah, I could see that, and I could imagine the feeling or realizing that actually is happening is probably
mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, and you might not even realize it at first. Like I'm sure, like at first you don't even realize what's happening, and you probably still don't even fully comprehend it. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that watch that show and are very fascinated. Way more people than reach out to you, right? So there's probably so many people that watch it that are just fascinated or inspired, or you push them to do something that they might not have done before. Or maybe they are real estate agents and they're like, you know what, I just want to take my game to a whole nother level because I don't have to sell smaller houses or rent the $1,000 a month apartments. Like I could take it to a whole new level because they saw you, they saw how hard you pushed. You're from Long Island just like them, and maybe you're inspiring them to do it as well. So I'm sure you've definitely influenced way more people than you could even imagine.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. But then I know I like stay away. I'm just.
That's all right. Don't worry about
but
it.
going back to attorney and real estate, I've always had a passion for real estate ever since I was in high school. My best friend's mother got her real estate license and started doing that when we were a little bit older. So together we got our real estate license. Well, separately, but because she's a little older than me. Went to law school because, again, I'm Greek. My mother wanted a doctor and an attorney in the family. My brother got the doctor, and I became the attorney. But and then last year in law school, my friend presented me with the Ryan offer, or just working in real estate in general. It just happened to be with Ryan Serhant, who wasn't Ryan Serhant at the time. And that's really it. I've just always had a passion for it. It was hard.
I was going to say, that's got to be a huge decision for you. Ooh. Now, looking forward, we see the end, right? We see the answers to the test, so we know it was a good choice. You're obviously going down the right path, right? But at the time, that's a huge decision, right? To kind of go with something you might be. Listen, maybe you're not passionate about law, but it's law, right? And now you're kind of transitioning to something else that is much more of a wild card, but it might be something you love and you're passionate about. But to make that decision, to make that choice, it's got to be tough.
It's so hard on so many levels. First, you don't want to disappoint your parents, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to
How old were
disappoint
you?
my mom. I was 22, 20, like you're still in that vulnerable age where, I did not love law school. I hated law school. But I wasn't going to run a marathon and not like cross the finish line, So I had to finish it. I had to take the bar and pass and everything. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm going to do real estate. And if I really, really hate it, or if I really fail, which I'm not going to let myself, being a full-time attorney is not a bad plan B, So, but I did it, and I never took no for an answer. And I think that's what everyone has to do, right? Like I think whatever you do and decide to do, you always have to put all of it in it, and don't look at it as a job, look at it as a career. And that's what I tell a lot of the kids that I kind of mentor in real estate. Just no matter what age you're at, just do it. I've gotten doors shut on me all the time. Netflix said no to me twice, I think, and here I am. So
now looking back, if you had to give someone advice, right? Because I feel like I talk to so many people that get trapped in this world of what you're supposed to do as opposed to what you want to do, right? And you were supposed to be a lawyer, right? Because it's the great job, it's the great thing, it's what everyone wants to do. But
salary, not commission.
Yeah, it's so much safer. Like everyone, looks up to you because you're a lawyer. Whatever, mom and dad are proud of you because you're a lawyer, and now you're going to a quote unquote sales job to be a real estate agent when they know 27 people that have been doing it and they sold one house, every year for the last 5 years and whatever. It's a scary thing, not only for you, but for other people. If you had to give someone advice that was sitting in your position that kind of had to make a decision like that, what do you tell them? What do you tell them? Do you tell them to follow their dream? Do you tell them to be safe? What do you tell them to do?
Follow your dream.
Yeah.
Always follow your dream, because even if you do your 9 to 5 comfortable job, eventually you don't want to be 50, 40. You don't even want to be 30, years old and just hating yourself. So I just say follow your dream, give it all you have, and also be financially smart about it. I was young enough where I didn't really have that many crazy bills. But just follow your dream. It'll make your life so much happier. And I think if anything, COVID has taught us, you just want to be happy in life, and just follow it and don't give up. I mean, never did I ever think I would be a real estate broker on a Netflix show when I decided to do real estate, almost 10 years ago.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So let's talk a little bit more about the show, because I feel like there's a lot of questions that people are going to be intrigued about. And we bounced all over the place during these conversations.
Yeah, I know. I've had a crazy day. So.
It's great. I love it. I did it too. So at least I'm not the crazy one. All the stuff that happened on the show, right? So like there's cameras rolling, there's things. How much of it is actually happening? Is it real stuff?
Oh, it's all real.
It's all real.
Yeah.
It's all real.
It's so real. Like it's almost so real where you don't realize the real world in a way. Like you don't realize that there's other things going on as well. You're so like into it, like the meat of it.
Yeah.
Ooh, but yeah, it's real.
Yeah. I mean, because you sit back and you watch all these different shows and this, and then you wonder like, you just, I don't know, there's always that curiosity because it's entertaining. There's so much going on. There's always things happening. And it felt, it always feels real, but, from the back end side and behind the cameras and behind the scenes, you're always wondering if it's actually happening. But it's kind of cool that, like, they just put some cameras on, you forget that they're even there, and they just kind of capture it all.
Yeah, no, it's real.
Yeah.
I think if it was fake, you'd be able to, like,
you'd smell bullshit from a mile away.
Yeah, it's real. Like all the good, the bad, the laugh, the cries, everything's real.
Now, how long did you guys film for?
An entire summer, so like 3 months.
Okay. And they're just with you all day, every day, kind of?
Not like all day, every day.
Okay.
You have scheduled like days and like hours, but they always go over. But yeah, so when you're going to kind of be filmed, you just don't necessarily know what you're going to be filmed around. Like you live your day-to-day life and they're like, okay, well, this day, if you're doing a showing or whatever, we're going to film it, and then you take it from there.
So before the show, they cast you all. They put you guys all in one office. And now you guys working in that office every day together? Like, I know on the show you guys had that office where you guys were all sitting in like that bullpen area. Like, is that where you guys are actually working every day? Or is that kind of part of the set? Like, how does that work?
So that was our main office on the show. And that's pretty much, I think, all of our main offices in the Hamptons. But we have offices in Southampton, Bridge, Sag Harbor, West Hampton.
So you're still doing your thing, and you might be all over the place.
Yeah.
And the days that you're set to be there, you're there and kind of...
I'm also in the city too, so
Yep.
I bounce around. Like if I have a showing in West Hampton, I'm not gonna go to this Bridgehampton office, which is the office that you see on the show. I'm gonna go to the West Hampton office. So we just kind of bounce around. But that is that's like where our licenses are held, and that's kind of like our center.
So we know that there's a season 2 coming out. Do we know that?
Do you know?
I don't know. I know. I hear things. I see things. I don't know.
I can't talk about
All
it.
right.
Let's see what did Fulfree say?
He didn't say anything. I didn't talk to him about that.
Point.
No, I just, you read things online. You guys are celebrities now. We read things about you.
You do.
You Google your name and things pop up. It's incredible. What does the next 10 years look like for you? What does Peggy look like in 10 years?
I don't know. You tell me. No, Peggy in 10 years. Oh gosh, I hope I have a lot more of a foundation on Long Island, the Hamptons, and the city, because now I've kind of expanded not only from the city to the Hamptons. I've also expanded to all over Long Island, bridging the gaps a little bit.
Which is cool.
Yeah. So I definitely want to have more of a foundation where everything can kind of be run a lot more smoother. Hopefully other different avenues, whether it's, I don't know, open to any opportunities. Developments, hopefully. I definitely want to flip.
Developments like luxury developments? Is that what you're looking to do? Like,
I want to do more like houses. I want to just kind of flip homes. On Long Island, the city I think is really, I would rather just sell new development or resales, but I'd love to start developing homes either in New York and or outside of New York just because of the profit margin.
Yep.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. And then I'd like to have a family, let's get a little personal on that part. I definitely would love to have a family and kids. So that's me in 10 years, hopefully.
All right. I like it. I like the development stuff. That's a lot of the stuff that we concentrate on here all the time. We do multifamily stuff mostly. That's like the world we live in. But, here on Long Island, other markets, there's a lot of opportunity out there. It's fun. It's cool.
That's what made me fall in love with real estate. I wanted to have a real estate portfolio. That's when I was like in high school, I wanted to own property. I never really was into stocks too much. I really just loved like the tangible real property of it, and multifamilies, like you said.
Do you do any commercial at all, or is it all luxury residential right now, or is it not luxury? Should I not use the word luxury? Is it all residential? Like, what is the world you live in all the time?
Residential. So I don't discriminate whether it's a $500,000 house or a $50 million house. I won't discriminate. I don't do too much commercial just because I don't have that much experience in it personally. I do have people that work with me that I kind of feed into the commercial stuff. And that's it. But luxury real estate or real estate in general is whatever you have, I'll sell it or I'll help you buy it. Like whatever price point.
I love it. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that we should have talked about?
I always get asked that question and I never know how to respond.
I thought that was a good question. I didn't realize everyone asked that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think we kind of dabbled over everything, right? Like we bounced around a lot because I've had a crazy day today.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot. I think I could probably talk to you for hours about all the different. It's so intriguing to me that like you were this regular person and then you get this great show on Netflix and how much it's gonna. I'm a firm believer that all you guys, right? So now I met Mike, I met you, and I think that the select few that are going to be able to take advantage of this stuff, I think that it's very early on for you guys. You guys are going to hit this crazy trajectory as time goes on, and you guys are going to be like major household names because you guys you just have it. You're too likable not to be. So like now you have this platform, and I think it's just gonna take off for you. So I'm excited to see how far it actually goes, and when you're way too big to even come and hang out with us and talk to us, like I'm excited to see that. But I could talk to you about it for hours with the amount of possibilities that it's opened up for you guys, and I'm excited for you. I hope you're excited about it because it's just going to keep on rolling.
Thank you. I mean, I'm so excited. And how about this? We'll make a promise. A year from today, no matter how big the show is, we'll do a second one.
I'm taking you up on that. 100%. We're going to put it in the books before you leave here.
I still get weirded out with the whole celebrity thing. We're still normal people.
Yeah, but over time it'll get more and more and more and more, and it'll feel more like that. But
mark my words.
A lot of people know you guys now. It's cool. It's cool. It really is. Everybody in the country has you right there on their TV. There's how many subscribers to Netflix are just clicking right there and seeing it. So it's special. It's cool. It's cool.
It's funny. You can tell when, I guess, the algorithms work. You can tell when like it starts to pop up again because they'll go a little bit radio silent and really get like one or two little messages here and there, and then like all of a sudden you get like 20 a day, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's crazy. It's a great experience. It's opened so many amazing opportunities for me, this being one of them.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, I appreciate you being here. I had a blast. Good luck with everything. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to say, hey, I know her. They're cool. And I appreciate it. I'm definitely going to take you up on the offer and coming back here. And if anybody has to get in touch with you and they want to do business with you or work with you, how do they do it?
You can find me on social media at Peggy_Z or email me, PeggyZ@nestseekers.com, or just go to PeggyZ.com.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And we will talk soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.